Welcome everyone to our tutorial on the SLY Assistant dashboards. My name is Victor from AFIA. Right now we are celebrating our 4th anniversary in AFIA, and we thought it might be a good idea to record a tutorial on the SLYA dashboards. By the way, shout out to Swift, who is the main developer for SLY Assistant, I think for over 1 year now. And yeah, I think he's doing an amazing job. So thank you, Swift, and keep on going. So how is this tutorial structured? We will first have a look at the dashboards because you want to see them maybe first if you don't know them and see if you like them. Then we will talk about the advantages and disadvantages. And in the end, we will look at the setup. We will do this step by step because, to be honest, this is not an easy task. It took me a couple of hours in the end with the help of Swift to do it. But hopefully for you, with the help of this tutorial, you will be much faster. Okay, so let's go to the dashboards. Swift has created 5 dashboards for Grafana. And the dashboards will display the data that you automate with SLYA. So I have them here in a folder called SLYA dashboards. And if we click there, then we see those 5 dashboards named crafting, mining, movement, scanning, and Starbase. So let's have a look. Begin with crafting. You will see here all the assets crafted on all of your starbases. You can set the time range. Yeah, you have a lot of possibilities here, but in the end, in the free version for Grafana and InfluxDB, the maximum time range will be 14 days. So let's maybe stick with 7 days for now. We probably don't want, as an interval here on the left side, we don't want to see this hourly. Let's switch to daily. And maybe you're interested in just a single starbase. My main account is in Ooster, so those are the starbases. So, for example, you could choose 21 and you see what you're crafting on 21 or 22. And you can select also the asset. So if you move down here and just click on ammunition, for example, then of course you will just see the amount of ammunition that you crafted on the starbase, in this case now MRZ22. And you can also select multiple if you hold Control key and click on a second one, for example, electromagnets. And of course, we can also choose a third one and also see electronics. So you see in the top here, you see the amount of crafted assets. Down left, you see the burned raw materials for that crafting. And on the bottom right, you see the burned fees in Atlas. Okay, let's go to the next dashboards. We can also select them here. Let's have a look at mining. It's pretty much the same thing, of course. You can set the time range, the interval. Let's also go to daily. What is new here? Oh, it's just showing 2 days. Couple of days. So what is new here is that you can also set the miner. Right now we are looking at all miner fleets on all starbases, but I can deselect all here and, for example, choose a miner fleet. Let's choose maybe this one, and we will see that this is a mining fleet that is mining Arco, and you see the daily amounts that it's mining. And you also, so in the top, the same procedure, you see the mined resources, bottom left, burned fuel, just for mining. In the middle, bottom, you see burned food, and on the right side, burned ammunition. And then let's select the next dashboard. Let's have a look at mining. So this time you can select also the assignment. So 7 days is fine, all fleets. But this is interesting. So if you go there, you can select scan, for example, and you will see the movement data for your scanning fleets, which is on the bars you see on the left axis you see the distance in AU, and the right axis showing with a blue line is the fuel consumed, and also the bar is either green or yellow for warp or subwarp. So that's quite interesting. On the right side you can see the travel time. So you see how much time your, in this case, scanning fleets are traveling, which is also interesting to have this data on a daily basis, because that is maybe something that you want to optimize. Do you want to travel longer if you're doing the automation? In this case, of course, in SLY, you have to decide should the fleet travel a longer distance and aim for a better sector to scan, or should it go a shorter distance and yeah, in order to not burn as much fuel. So that is quite nice, and you can also select the fleets, which is also quite interesting. So for example, those are the 4 scanning fleets are in here. So if we look at the O-port, for example, then we see everything here for the O-port. And it is pretty similar, by the way, if we look at the travel time now. If you choose the O-port, or because it's a pure O-port fleet, or the Ranger, the traveling times are pretty similar. But if you choose the RayFam, for example, that is a little bit longer because it has a shorter warp range and also a shorter cooldown. But in the end, due to the shorter warp range, the travel time is actually longer. So that's quite interesting. If you okay, and of course you can also select transport here. Let's deselect that one or select all. Then you see the distance and fuel costs and travel time of your transport fleets. Oh, this is on 7 days. Probably we want to see this daily, probably to see the travel time for each day, and not the travel time for 7 days. But okay, I think you get the point. And what is also interesting, if you select mine, and then you see no data. And the reason is because the mining fleets that I'm automating with SLY do not move around. So they are just exiting the asteroid, and they are not subwarping or warping to a different starbase. That's why we don't see any data here, because it's just the exit of the asteroid. If you automate some of your mining fleets, that they should also move to a different starbase to unload the resources, then you will see some data here. Okay, next one is starbases. So that is actually what I think the most interesting of those dashboards. So this time you can only select the different starbases where you're at, and it's showing the inventory of your R3 So no toolkits here, just ammunition, food, and fuel on the left side. And on the right side, it's showing the Starbase inventory, which is also now including toolkits, if you have any toolkits on that Starbase. And if you deselect, then you see all the inventory, and same is true, of course, you can select single inventories, or by holding Control, you can select multiple. So that's pretty nice. And at the bottom, you can actually check your and see the incoming resources per fleet, and also the outgoing resources. So that's also interesting if you want to see, how much is coming in, and how much is going out from that Starbase, and where do you find the balance. And so why in general is this useful? We all love EVE-I, and Rising Sun is doing an amazing job. But in EVE-I, you see the current snapshot of your inventory, which is great. But sometimes you want to see a trend, and this is where these charts are really handy. And because maybe you want to see if you're running out of those R3 that you need on the Starbases. But there are different use cases. So let's take a couple of examples. So for example, what I'm using it for is checking the mining Starbases. So the Starbases where I'm mining at, let's switch to MRZ17, which is the Starbase for the faction crystals in Ooster, which is Arco. And let's switch this one to 24 hours. And now you can see what the cargo fleet is bringing on a daily basis, and what the mining fleets are mining. And on the right side, you can see what the cargo fleets are picking up, and what your mining fleets are consuming. So in the end, I want to make sure that my mining fleets don't run out of R3, and that my cargo fleet is able to match the output of the mining fleets, unless I want to grow a stockpile. And that is exactly what we see here. So I can see ammunition is stable, actually going slightly up over the last 24 hours. So I could probably reduce the ammunition that is delivered by the cargo field a little bit. Food is stable, fuel is stable. And if I look at Arco, for example, this one is going down. So I'm aware that my cargo fleet is actually picking up more than is mined by the mining fleets. So so I will, from time to time, I will send the cargo fleet to a different Starbase, and to grow a stockpile again, and then switch it back to MRZ17. Another use case is if you're looking at Starbases where you do upgrading. So let's look at MRZ16 for this example. So this is a Starbase where Ooster is upgrading right now. Oh, maybe it was not a good... Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, here. So we switch to 7 days now to rent again. So on those Starbases, I want to make sure that my crafters don't run out of upgrading components. So right now I'm using electromagnets and field stabilizers. So they are both running pretty low, but on stockpile, but still manageable. I think I'm also doing power sources right now. Yeah. So those three, and yeah, of course, you can see times when I really used a lot of cargo fleets to bring some assets over there. And then you have to make sure if the stockpile is going too low to send more assets, of course, with your cargo fleets if you are able to. And match a little bit, again, the amount that your crew can install for upgrading with the flow that your cargo fleets are able to bring to the starbase. So that's the idea. And maybe a last use case could be crafting faction infrastructure contracts on the starbases. Let's switch to MZ21. I'm actually not doing that right now. I'm not crafting any faction infrastructure contracts, but we can still have a look. So let's assume I'm crafting star pass cells. And so I would look at radiation absorbers. Let me actually pick those. Radiation absorbers, also power sources. Where are the power sources? And also SDU. So here we go. So so I'm not, as I said, I'm not crafting those, but you want to make sure that your crafters don't run out of those components, because those are the components needed for the recipe to craft the star pass cells. Okay. So now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages briefly. So, of course, in general, those are subjective. So what is an advantage for me might not be an advantage for you. So, for example, the SLY dashboards give you a great overview on your fleets and inventory. And if you're running 20 or more mining fleets and a couple of scanning fleets and all that, then this might be a huge benefit for you. But if you are running one mining fleet and one cargo fleet, you probably actually have a good idea what your fleets are doing, and your benefit from the dashboards might be smaller. So I think that is probably, very clear. So, so when we talk about the benefits, these are not ranked. It's just a list. So the first one for me would be that the setup is a one-time effort. So that's always great. So if you, I already said the setup is a little bit complicated, but if you do it one time, then it should be running all day long, of course. And so it's a one-time effort. And the second benefit is you can run this setup with free accounts for InfluxDB and Grafana. Those are the two software tools that we need to be running. We will talk about this later. And so because we can use free accounts, there are no monthly costs, which is great. The tools offer a lot of flexibility. So you can, for example, edit Swift's dashboard to your own likings, or you can create your own dashboards. That's all possible. They also offer a lot of features. So, for example, you can send an alert email if one of your starbases is running low on R3, or if your crew on an upgrading starbase is running out of components. So I think that's for sure great. And you're also running your own database. So your data is not stored on a SLY or Atom server, and you're asking permission to access it. You are the owner of this database. This is even more true if you decide to install the standalone version, because in the cloud version, you can still say, okay, then my data is on the server of InfluxDB. But still, it's your database that you're running. Nobody else has access to that. So yeah, I think those are the advantages that come to my mind. If we're talking about the disadvantages, again, not ranked. The first thing I already mentioned is the setup is pretty complex for ordinary people, and I would consider myself an ordinary. I'm not a developer. So for me, it was already quite an effort to master this. InfluxDB and Grafana are developer tools. So yeah, so they offer a lot of possibilities and flexibility, but their setup is not easy. And another disadvantage is right now you can only monitor data from SLY. It's maybe not fair to call this a disadvantage, because this is not the fault from InfluxDB or Grafana. If Atom, for example, or the Sage UI would offer an API for their data, you could actually also load this into your database at InfluxDB. So, but right now, and with the setup, we will just connect SLY Assistant with your database. And so, of course, this is the only data you can look at. And the last disadvantage maybe is the free accounts have limited functionality. So, for example, the retention of for metrics is 14 days with a cloud install, and 30 days with the standalone version. And but in general, I'm totally fine with this. I don't need to keep a history of my data, and 14 days is sufficient for me. So again, not really a disadvantage. Okay, great. So finally, let's talk about the setup. So what steps are necessary to use those dashboards? So Swift uses two tools here. The first one is InfluxDB, which is a database. And the second one is Grafana, which is the visualization of the data series in the database. So the way this works is, in my own simple words, is SLY sends a message for each transaction to InfluxDB. That way the transactions are getting stored in your database, and you will only get the data from the moment you start to send those transactions. And you will also only get data from SLY. So therefore, the database doesn't contain any transactions that are outside of SLY. So for example, nothing that you're doing in the Sage UI with manual transactions, or any automation in Atom, will not be in your database. You have to know that. And Grafana then will read the data from your database and visualize it. So in Grafana, you open and look at your dashboard. So let's sign up accounts. Let's start with Influx B. So you will find all the links down in the descriptions that are necessary. And so this one is the first that we're looking at. Influx data, we look at the pricing. So there's a free plan, and you can see it says data retention 30 days. So InfluxDB is offering 30 days for free. Grafana is only offering 14 days. So so we will actually go with 14 days. And the other important thing to my mind is to notice that it says database buckets too. We will talk about those. That could be also interesting for you. And so this is simply a pricing and comparison page for all the different plans that we're offering. So we click on Start Now, and then you will see again Start for free. And we will actually just click on this one again, here or here. And this is now the first decision that you have to make. So there are two installations possible. On the left side, this is the installation for the standalone self-managed database. So advantages are that your data is on your server. And the disadvantage, of course, yeah, you need a server that is running 24/7 to store the transaction data. And on the right side, you see the cloud account. And of course, it's the opposite advantages and disadvantages to the standalone version. So for this tutorial, we will go with the cloud account because it's easier to set up. I tried the standalone and I couldn't do it. So I'm doing the cloud account, and this is yeah, I think this is the best way. If you click this one, then I took a screenshot. It will take you to this page. So you need to fill out this form, and it says no credit card required. It's the free Influx database cloud serverless account, and you can use your Google account, or you sign up by filling out those fields here. And if you do this, and if you verify your email, then you actually and the first time that you log in, you will see this page. So this is InfluxDB, and the first thing that we are doing is we have to create a bucket. So we go to load data, here the first element, and click on buckets. And if you're wondering what a bucket is, it's here on the right side. A bucket is a named location where time series data is stored. All buckets have a retention period. So you can, in simple words, say the bucket is your database, and you name it. So so you can see I already have one bucket running, which is called SLYA. And in this bucket, every transaction for my main account, the Ooster account that I'm playing, are stored in this bucket. But in this tutorial now, I want to create with you a new bucket. So so click Create Bucket. So in your case, if you're playing a single faction, then you probably just want to create one bucket. You don't need a second one, so it's totally fine. I would recommend you just call that bucket, as I did, SLYA, and that's great. And for data retention date, you can set it on 14 days, because we're not able to use 30 days in Grafana anyway. For my case, I will put _mud there, because AFIA, we are a multi-faction guild, so I have player profiles in Ooster and mud right now, and I want to set up with you now the data for my mud account. So I click on Create. So now we have the bucket, and we can leave this page open. It's all we have to do right now in InfluxDB. And we go to our SLY Assistant, and here you can see I'm using the standalone version. So this third one is my MUD account, and you can see I have a couple of fleets here, and 2 crafting jobs, and a cargo fleet. And you want to go to Tools and Settings, and you want to go to Advanced. So the first thing that you need to enter is the Influx URL, and I will put this one also in the description. So I will copy and paste this one into here. So it says UE Central, AWS, Cloud, and so on. And then at the end it says, and that is important, bucket is SLYA, and precision is milliseconds. So you have to make sure that when you go to InfluxDB, that this first part, including influxdata.com, this is what you need to copy, or you want to make sure that this is the first part of the influx URL. So you can just go there and Control V to actually paste this into here. Oh, there's one backslash too much. So because depending on your location, this will probably not be EU central. Maybe it's somewhere something else. So you have to make sure that this is correct. And I will do a second change. You don't have to do that, because when you named your bucket SLYA, or if you named it SLYA, then you're fine. In my case, as I said, I use _mut. So this is what I'm doing here, and so I'm fine with that. I can actually press save and open again, and it should be there. So great. So the next thing that we need to do is we need now a token. It says influx of token. So we need to create a token in InfluxDB. So we go back to InfluxDB and go to API tokens. And we create or generate a custom API token. So you could do an all-access API token, but I wouldn't recommend, because you will, over this API, then over this token, all data is available in read and write. So I wouldn't recommend this. I would go and create a custom API token, and you can describe it. In my case, I pick SLYA _mut again, because I already have the SLYA token. So this one is the token for the mut transaction data in my case. And I also put there read and write. So because I want to give read and write access to this token, you could also create two tokens, one for read and one for write, because we are using them very differently. So there are two softwares that we use the token for. One is directly in SLY, and this is actually just a write token. So it will not read any data from the database. It will actually write data to the database. So that could purely be a write token. On the other side, we will use the token in Grafana, and that will purely be a read token. So but for simplicity, I'm just creating one token, call it read write, and select the buckets. In my case, as SLY, and give read and write. In your case, you would select simply SLYA. And then we generate this. So this is the token, and hopefully this is blurred now for you. And it will, you will have to save the token now. So copy the clipboard and save it somewhere, because you will not see it a second time. So and you're not able to open it somewhere. So let me actually go and save it over here. Okay. And so now I can close it. I still have it in copy mode, so the first paste will hopefully work. We will go back to SLYA and go to the influx of token and press Control V. So now we have the token in here, and and this should be fine. Let's save this. Now comes an interesting part. Let me actually have a look at the watch. So at the clock. So it looks like we're not lucky. So it needs, probably because I'm not running many fleets here, it probably needs 6 more minutes to get another transaction. So let's actually check this. We go to InfluxDB and we want to make sure that we now have data incoming. So we go to the Data Explorer, which is the second symbol here. And we have to choose a bucket and a measurement. So this time I want to choose the SLY_mat bucket. And yeah, and already the first interesting thing, there is no measurement found. So I'm guessing that there is no data incoming for now. So yeah, so maybe I will skip the video, or we will simply look back later if this is working. Okay, I waited for a couple of minutes and now we have some data incoming. So let's pick SLYA mat, and now we can select a measurement because this is the first data that we received. So let's pick, for example, mining, and make sure that SQL sync is activated, because otherwise it will not. This should be fine, hopefully. Amount, burnt ammunition, past 1 hour is fine. This is just an example. We just want to check if some data is coming, and click run. And we see, yeah, it's working. The database received data from SLY. So yeah, that's great. That's the step that we want to make sure. So we are halfway done now. We created a database in InfluxDB. We connected it to SLYA, and we made sure that the data is being received. So let's now connect Grafana. So let's go to grafana.com pricing. And we see again, this is showing there is a free account. And we see, for example, what we talked about. There's 14 days of data retention. So, so I think that's the most interesting part for us. And if you click on Get Started, then you will see this sign up form. And again, you can use Google or use an email with a password. And if you have confirmed this step and you're first able to log in, it should look like this. And this is your Grafana Labs account. And the important button here, of course, you can manage your plan and things like that. But the important button here is actually to press launch. And if you do that, then it will take you to your Grafana account. And so that is great. And we now go to connections. Click on connections and then click on data sources. And we want to add a new data source because, as I said, we want to connect Grafana to InfluxDB. So we click on Add New Data Source and click on InfluxDB. And so this will now open. And I would suggest that we rename this. So call it InfluxDB. You already see what I used here. So I would recommend you go something like this. So InfluxDB Cloud, you don't have to call it serverless. So maybe just Cloud. And then if you're playing multi-faction, then you can put your faction name on. So you know this is. So that's what I'm doing. Maybe for you it's InfluxDB Cloud. And then the same again, you go to InfluxDB and you grab the first until influxdata.com .com copy and go to where are we here, and paste this into the URL. So that is totally fine. That is because we want to connect with the database. So you don't need to pick a product here, but you need to pick a query language. Oh, no options found. Maybe we need to pick a product. Let me actually check this. Oh yeah, we need to pick a product. InfluxDB Cloud Serverless, and then we pick SQL. So that is important because that is the language of the data that is sent to InfluxDB. And then we pick, or we enter the database. So in your case, this is probably SLYA. And in my case, it's _mut. And now we need the token again. So hopefully you have saved the token somewhere. If not, it's not terrible. You can always create a new token. Of course, you then have to also exchange the token in SLYA and also here. In my case, hopefully I have it saved. Let me check. It looks like. So I will copy this and go here we are, and paste it in here. We don't need advanced setting, so everything is looking fine as it is. So we can save and test, and you should actually do that because you want to test if Grafana is able to connect with using the token. So press save and test, and it says okay. Next, you can start to visualize. So that is already working. And the last step that we now need to do is import the dashboards from Swift. So we go to Swift's GitHub account. Again, the link is in the description. github.com and then /Swift42. So this is what you will see. Don't be confused. Don't click on this one. It says Grafana, but it's another data set. So we want to go into the SLY Assistant. This is what we want to click. And then if you're not familiar with GitHub, as I'm not familiar, then maybe it takes you some time, but I will tell you, you pick the branches. That's important because in here, there are just the, as you probably know, the SLY files to run the assistant. But you can pick branches here. And the branch that we want to pick is patch collection for 0.7. So this one is the one we choose. And then we find the folder Grafana. So this is what we do. And here you find the 5 dashboards that Swift created. So you click on the first one, for example, and then you press download raw file. And it will download the JSON file. So that is perfectly fine. And if we go to back to Grafana now, and we go to dashboards, and you now, first thing what you want to do is probably you want to create a new folder. That is at least what I want to do. So maybe you name your folder. Oh, it says it's totally wrong. I will correct it later. So it says SLYA dashboards. I will create a new folder and call it actually SLYA. Wrong again. SLYA _mut dashboards. And create that one. Okay, so now we have an empty folder and we will create dashboards. and we will import dashboards. And you will pick, yeah, this one we can discard. And then it says upload dashboard JSON file. This is exactly what we downloaded. And so we will click here. It will open up a pop-up. Probably you won't see this one now. And I will go to the JSON file that I just downloaded for crafting. And it says crafting, nothing else that we need to do. It's, oh wait, it's not in dashboards. We want to save this one in SLYA mud dashboards and press import. Oh, a data source is required, see? We want to use the InfluxDB Cloud mud. That is our data. When I'm saying this now, maybe we don't even need to save the dashboards in different folders, because you can then choose the database. But I'm doing it anyway, so let's press import. Okay, and here we go. And we have data incoming. So looks perfectly fine to me. You repeat this for the other 4 dashboards, and then you're done. Okay, I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, the best place to go is probably the Discord server from SLY Assistant. And yeah, Swift is most of the time answering all the questions there. So so that's probably the best place. You can also come to our AFIA Discord server. We have a visitors chat there, and you can also ask some questions there if you want to, and we will help you with that. Yeah, so again, I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching our content, and bye-bye.